A few months ago, I was watching a video put out by Sabine Hossenfeld on climate change, and she gave an average temperature for the temperature of the moon at minus 18 degrees Celsius. And I've just been looking into this a bit more closely, and I've found a few different statistics, crucially, statistics for the average temperature of the moon. And if you average the temperatures for the moon given on NASA's website, it comes out as minus 6 degrees Celsius. If you average the temperatures given out from the 2009 NASA Diviner mission given on the UCLA website, you come out at minus 23 degrees Celsius. And if you look at the Caltech website, it comes out at minus 39 degrees Celsius. So you can see there's a huge variance there in terms of the temperature readings that we've gotten from the moon. And the moon is, of course, measured using our most cutting-edge, up-to-date technology. It uses satellite technology, of course, to measure the moon's temperature. It uses technology not that dissimilar, really, or really the same technology as we use to measure Earth's temperature. So when it comes to this variance in our temperature estimates for the moon's temperature, if we can't measure the temperature of the moon, why are we so able to measure the temperature of the planet? And why are we so hung up on this 1 or 2 degrees difference in the mean surface temperature of the planet or the mean temperature of the atmosphere if we can't even get the moon's temperature correct? It seems very silly to me that all this stuff about climate change is going on when this, this stuff with climate change, this could just be down to the error bars narrowing. And this could just be down to increased sophistication in our measurements, gaining more and more precise readings of Earth's temperature, and it shifts it slightly upwards. But in a very small period of time, I grant you, since we've had this explosion in the last 70 years of satellite technology and rocket technology, and satellites being launched into space to measure the Earth's climate and so on. And I think we enter this kind of scientism, don't we? This science worship, whereby we think science is infallible. It just produces correct results all the time, and that there's no room for error. There's no room for anyone being wrong in science. Or NASA, how could you ever question NASA, right? Like, well, NASA themselves, from the Diviner readings in 2009 to the readings they give now on their website, those are different statistics. They're different results. They're closing. Well, maybe they're not even closing in on the right temperature, because Caltech give yet more different results. I think from the ERAS satellite, the infrared something satellite, measuring infrared radiation around the galaxy and the solar system and different galaxies, I think. But this is the point. Like, why we can't get hung up on 1 or 2 degrees of difference here on planet Earth, and we can't, especially since NASA weren't taking readings of planet Earth's temperature during the night either, which is atrocious, really terrible behaviour. But yeah, if we can't even get the moon's temperature correct from space, what hope do we have of getting the temperature of anywhere else correct from space? Do you see what I mean? We put things, satellites in orbit around the moon, we point satellites at the moon, we put things on the moon to measure its temperature, or that could measure its temperature, of course, various landers and so on, but goddamn people on the moon. But we can't get this right. We haven't got this right. We haven't got a mean surface temperature for Earth that sits in an acceptable, well, we have no mean absolute temperature for Earth. You know what I mean? I mean, it's constantly subject to fluctuations and changes. Every year is different. Our sun might be moving through periods of high concentration of interstellar dust, gas, rock. That's what might all be burning up on the corona. That's a legitimate scientific objection to climate statistics that's been roundly ignored, I think. Or that I propose has been ignored. Then again, I'm not in the community, am I? All this sort of thing. That is a legitimate concern about statistics from climate science. And it's a legitimate concern, about measurements of temperature and things like this. We haven't got good statistics on the mean surface temperature of the moon. Why do you think we've got good statistics on the mean surface temperature of Earth from space? We don't. That's simply the way it is. And that's the way science is. It is by no means perfect. It is prone to error. Results like this must be treated with a pinch of salt at the minimum. That's all I really want to say.